Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are once again. Okay, so just get loaded back in here. Now, I have been trying to work out, like, rough numbers, actually, the last, I don't know, the last day or so. Obviously, since the stream. The reason being, we need to sort of figure out what we can expect from the Allies in this theatre. Because that will actually dictate a lot of the strategy. Hello there, Grahe. How are you doing, my friend? Assuming I actually said your name right. How you doing, my friend? I might just say Gra. That might be easier, or Grey. I don't know. So the colour. We have left off, obviously, with some of our moves decided over here. Though, obviously, we'll go through them. We have got Malaya to sort out. It's mostly done. We've done things in a lot of the theatres. So, there's not too particularly much left to do, obviously, other than make some good decisions. Now, what I was just saying here is, I was looking at this website here, trying to figure out what we can expect in 1940 from the Allies. Now, I don't know if this is entirely reliable. It seems, I don't know, it seems like a rough figure anyway. So we'll see obviously, whether this is correct or not. But it does give us some rough ideas to work with. So we can see here Great Britain with dominions in the Pacific. 2 battleships, whether it's class in, well now, there's only a battleship and not battlecruiser, so I'd imagine that's Prince of Wales or Repulse. 9 US battleships, 10 for the Japanese. Well, now 9, which is a shame. 1 aircraft carrier under repair. Well, she may be ready at this point. Hermes is what it's referring to here. The 3 US carriers that we're aware of. Obviously, we do have a numbers advantage. 1 British heavy cruiser, 13 US. Obviously, this is only showing Great Britain, USA, Netherlands, 3 French. But 13 heavy cruisers is rather interesting. 11 light cruisers. 7 British, 3 Dutch, 1 French. Destroyers 13 British, 80 US, 7 Dutch, 0 French, 113 Japanese. Submarines 56, 13, 63. Now, of course, I do not know how reliable these numbers are, but it does give us a sort of rough estimation to work with. Hello there, Lupus, how you doing, my friend? What's up there, Play Up? How you doing? So, yeah, we do have a very rough idea of what we're looking at here. His subs are the most dangerous, and if he makes a big task force, that could be bad. Well, the thing is, if we take a look over here, now, I believe it was one of the viewers called Justin, he did point out that when we did see the damage to one of the submarines over here, it was in fact indicating 2 very damaging hits. Basically, 2 of the depth charges had supposedly pierced the hull of Seawolf. I believe the second one did critically damage the engine. So that's good news. So we may have here a critically damaged US submarine or Dutch submarine, which is extremely good for us. We have been bringing damage to submarines. It's like, of course, it's a very big danger, of course, with the submarines here. They can obviously pack a punch. The thing is, though, the longer they remain in the area, the higher the chance that we will eventually hit them. And I've just realised I forgot to update the map mod, but that's fine, we'll do it next time. As we can see here, thunderstorms over the enemy submarine. Severe storms, overcast, heavy cloud, clear skies. Over us, we are of course seeing thunderstorms and thunderstorms here. Now the thing is, will it have to submerge when it's damaged? Well, it depends really. If the submarine is too damaged, it will not be able to submerge. But if its engine has been critically damaged, it's going to be extremely slowed, if possible, to move. I'd imagine it might be able to move slowly, very slowly. Possibly, if it has to surface, that would be fantastic. That would mean we'd be able to locate and destroy it. Yeah, he's definitely relying on his submarines at the moment. Which is interesting, considering the fact that we've not seen a single Allied submarine here in the Japanese economic area. Which has been working out well for us. It's meant that we can actually start to build our stockpile up without fret for the time being. So in all honesty, I'd rather tangle with his submarines out this way, if it means that Japan will be safe for another day. We can fight against the submarines, we can't fight against them with convoys. Hello there, Justin. Until I get naval ship superiority and can charge your 10 carriers. Well, this is it. Now, something that's been on my mind today is, of course, we did see, what was it, around about 8 Allied submarines around here at Midway. So if we take the assumption here that, let's see, so Midway is about 38 hexes away. Okay. So if these submarines, as I'd imagine they would be, once deployed to Midway, probably from Pearl, I'd imagine, potentially from Pearl, or other bases, but I'm going to say Pearl for the time being. I'd imagine they would have been sent here with a good amount of fuel, probably full fuel if they were based over here. Though that could be up for debate. I'd imagine there will be a lot of fuel here, though it depends on how much is actually used, because ships may have slipped out or slipped in. We don't know. So I'm going to imagine, as we've seen reports already indicating submarine presence in the Marshall Islands, so we do definitely need to step up our ASW duties in the Marshall Islands itself. Kidabutai is here and needs to be defended. So I think what we'll do is actually split off some of the destroyers from Kidabutai to have them run ASW over the island and just around the island. I think that's probably one of the best things that we can do right now. Something I'm going to find interesting as well is there are, of course, a lot of ships in port right now. So we do have 3 carriers still on station outside the port, which intrigues me, because we are aware of search aircraft over the island. I'm just going to call it KYJ, just to make it a little bit easier. They're special bases for subs in this game. No, not really. Subs can base in any base that your normal ships can. There are basically auxiliary ships in that do cater to submarines, that can rearm submarines. Obviously other than the ports. But yes, that's what I was saying. So he's been running reconnaissance flights over KYJ. So he's aware of what's here more than likely. He's also aware that Kidabutai is around here, so he will know that she will have headed to KYJ. Now, what intrigues me is the potential here. Depending on our luck, he may not actually be able to take a look at what's within the port here, and may instead see the ships on the outside. Now, the reason I'm saying this rather hopefully is, if he doesn't see the true numbers of carriers here, he may mistake 3 of them to have left, which would be amazing. Where are those search planes flying from? They have range KYJ. What's the range of the PBY? Well, this is it. I'm pretty interested in that one myself, to be honest. Let's take a look. I mean, they could. I don't know if Allied submarines actually do benefit from having search planes. I don't know if they have them. So there, Raghar, how you doing, my friend? Jap subs weren't like U-boats that needed pens to cover from bombings. They didn't really have that luxury, to be fair. Right. Let's see. I'm sure we've seen a report here. See, this is it. It could be obviously basing from an island rather close by, which is rather interesting. So let's try and figure out where it could be coming from. I'll double check. Right, okay. Task Force 1 snooped by Allied level bomber at 132115 near KYJ Island. Task Force 288 snooped by Allied float plane. Now that's interesting. Some subs had airplanes. Okay. Task Force 7 detects PBY 5 Catalina 139143. Now that's not too far away, is it? 139. Well, I say that. So whereabouts is 139? Okay, 139, what was it? 142. Right, so near here. Interesting. So if we take a look over here. Now there are no airfields, there's only ports. Range is 30. We'll take a look at the American submarines and try to figure out that. I'm not honestly aware if they do have submarines or not. So it's a very interesting question. It's something I've never really had to ask before. Right. Possibly so. We'll definitely check those islands in just a moment, actually. Have I passed us? Right, here we go. I'd probably be better off just going to the actual track than doing it like that. That does display information far easier. It could be potentially another nation's submarine, perhaps. But yeah, he could be basing from Nauru or Ocean Island. That is a possibility. Indeed. Right then, we'll look at the current turn. But we'll go ahead and take a look at ship classes then. Yeah. Right. Am I not able to see submarine? Ah, right, here we go. SS, US, available. Now it should show us obviously here if they're able to carry aircraft. Also we'll go through the nations and figure out who may, if at all, have float planes. Right, so none of the US submarines have float planes. Australia has none, New Zealand has none, the British don't, the French, no, the Dutch. Okay, right, that's rather interesting. So we can propose here then that it's not submarine based, which is interesting. That does narrow down his options. It is relatively close, so it very well could be from here. Let's take a look. So it would probably be a very good idea, well, would be a good idea to take a look at these islands. So right now we don't have a clue. He could also be flying from Rabaul. Now Rabaul to KYJ is 31 hexes. So we saw a report indicating PBY 5Js. PBY 5s? Why am I coming up with the Js? And we'll take a look at the PBYs. Again, I'll just do it on the tracker, far easier. Aircraft. Not production, comparison. Float plane. Patrol. Right. So it's only the US Navy that has it. Not transport, patrol. It's not listed at least at the moment. They may do in the future. You have to remember that I was looking at available as in now in 1941. They may gain them later. Oh, they do have float planes. Just as submarines don't have float planes. Could it be an aircraft from some US cruiser? That's a possibility. It is a possibility. We're going to take a look and try and figure out the actual potential possibilities here. So what that means is we are going to take a look at the aircraft he has at the moment and really try to factor out a few things. Well, factor in a few things here. I don't think he'll have any of these. These are later models. Yeah, that's 45. That's obviously quite later on then. That's freaking awesome. I don't know about you, but I'd love to have a giant freaking balloon because that thing's just cool. Why not? Why the hell not? Right, okay. So we can rule out that it was potentially float plane, which is an extremely interesting option now. Because it could be there are ships to the north, and we were aware of ships leaving Pearl. Not as of last turn, but previously we were aware of that. Right. Now, Johnson Island may 33 hexes. So it's still out of range, though they did detect them about here. Which is still out of range. For it to say float plane, that's what intrigues me. Yeah, 100%. The range is the only allied base that could manage it. So that's interesting then. So I think what we'll have to do here then is actually take over Nauru and Ocean Island. Yeah. And if we can actually take them... Let's take a look then. I believe he may have information on Tarawa. Hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be them. And we detected PBY-5s. I do wonder if the PBY-5s that we destroyed on Savai, I wonder if it's their squadron that has transferred up over here. Interesting. Flown plane over Canton. Hmm. Right, it has said nothing about admitting a loss here of Yanagi. Those 3 destroyed to survive were probably damaged or under maintenance. So yeah, that makes sense. It's very much like ours, well, the aircraft that we still have based here at Canton. So we do have the capability to take Nauru Island and Ocean Island very quickly, and actually with forces. What we may do here then is, let's take a look. We could have Aoba and Kinagusa accompany a detachment each, and we should be able to secure then Nauru Island and Ocean Island. I think this is a good strategy. We'll secure these 2 islands and obviously gain us those supplies, those resources, I should say. And if it does actually destroy Allied patrol craft, I'd be very happy about that. But this has got to be the only place he could be running from, and it would make sense. This would be something he could manage. So we can do this. We can detach and we can take the islands. I think what we may do here is use relatively fast transports, perhaps. Let's see. Reconnaissance, yeah, would be quite good. We could use the actual cruiser float planes to run reconnaissance over the island. I'm not going to use my H6Ks because I do need their search in the general area. Right, what we're going to do then is we're going to take a look over here then. So look at the actual, what are they? Support, transport, here we go. Okay, so we're going to create a new task force, and it's going to be an amphibious one. Now, let's see, what do we have aboard the fast transport? I don't think any of these guys... Right, you're carrying the 66. Speed is about, what, 14 knots? Yeah. We could assign some float planes down to here. Right, 167 to Aoba. That's interesting, I never heard about a US version or something like that. Okay, so let's take a look. Oh, you're actually only going to make 10 knots then. We can do better than that. Right, transfer out Aoba. I love it when it does this to me. Okay, be awkward then. Right. We'll have you go to Ocean Island then. So I'm looking at 2 hexes per turn. I could put them to full speed and make 3 hexes per turn. Though, let's see. 1, 2, 3. This would be better. 1, 2, 3. It's going to take us some time to travel there with something so goddamn slow. Right. What are we kind of bored here? Oh, hardly any men. Okay, what we're going to do here then is, rather than waste our time sending something like this piece of junk, we'll tell this ship to dock and unload, and then we'll reload these troops later. Right, unload the troops. It's been awkward and not let me merge them back in, but I'm not going to waste my time. Okay, transport then. Okay, sold by troops. Right, 14 knots there. You're carrying 334 troops. We'll take you. Nobody particularly matters on which heavy cruiser accompanies them. Okay, just over 300 troops. Your speed is better. Right. Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to tell the cruiser to directly travel with them. I'm going to tell them to be separate. Do I have any patrol boats here? I don't believe I do as of yet. How many days worth of oil do you have? In Japan or in these ships over here? Right. You don't have a huge amount of fuel here. So if I were to have the transports on full, should make it to what here? 1, 2, 3. Might be able to make it. Right, what I'm going to tell them to do then. So this is Nauru Island. Okay. Transfer Kinagusa out for the time being. In total, ooh, what are we looking at? Let's go back and check the tracker. In Japan, we have 195 days of fuel at the moment. I think I will run high speed here with the actual transport. The reason being, well, I do want them to take the island quickly. If he's using this for reconnaissance, it would be quite good for us. Obviously, to deny him that. So what I'll do is I'll take Kinagusa. I don't particularly need her to run this, but I don't really have anything else in terms of escorts available. So I don't want them to go out without any escort or any form of defense. Well, actually, I want them to follow. There we go. So you're going to follow? Ah, fantastic, you're in with Jakes. That's exactly what I need. Okay. We are going to run reconnaissance here. Over Nauru Island. Interesting. Right, what's the range from Tarawa? 9. Okay, fantastic. So we can use our Jakes over here to actually run reconnaissance over the islands, which is good. I mean, it's going to be quite an interesting turn. We'll have possibly then three islands turned to our control, which is going to be interesting. But this is good. This is going to be absolutely worthwhile. Because obviously this will then deny him bases in proximity to us. He would then be forced back to Baker Island as well as Guadalcanal, the Solomon Islands, the Bismarck Archipelago, New Britain, which are... I don't believe we're within range. Yeah. I think 20 is outside their range. Baker Island actually does have an airfield, so we could also be using Baker Island. Though Baker Island is out of range of KYJ, it's not out of range of Tarawa. So we do need to secure Baker Island. Right. Mission speed. We'll have the cruisers escort the landing forces. Well, we'll see how he moves here in the Pacific. We do need reconnaissance over Baker Island. Yeah. We'll see what else we have over here. We may have some float planes to make up the difference. You have to remember that we do have Kinagusa, so she'll have float planes as well. I think I might use the G4s if they have range to look at Baker Island. Though I doubt it. We could fly them to Tarawa and tell them to do it. That could be a good idea. I do want fighters in Tarawa. Now, you couldn't transfer to Tarawa. I was about to say you could, but no, we can't. Hello there, Rainbow Slash. Yeah. Well, what we'd do is we'd take the island and then we'd pick them back up. What I'd probably do is use the old light cruisers to pick them up. It depends really on the load cost. But we're going to use these small squads to take these islands around here, man. I mean, this is something that we hadn't really considered because obviously we're moving down here to the south. But things are really changing. I find that so very interesting. We need information on Pago Pago. Right. I need speed. 23 knots. 23 knots will do. Head towards Pago Pago. Well, Pago Pago. Pago Pago. Pago Pago. Only 4 knots of range. What I need you to... Well, sorry, 4 hexes of range. You're out of range, but that's fine. Once you're within range, I do need that reconnaissance. Now I'm going to tell them to make for full speed here. The reason being, I really don't have that much time to wait. We need information in this area. What I'd actually love to do, because of the fact that we are suffering here due to the low amount of supply on the island of Savai, we do need to be extremely, I suppose you could say, cheeky. If we can take Pago Pago, we will move to Pago Pago. We need to be quite active in this area. The reason for that, if he's moving his forces to the north and expecting the south to remain somewhat quiet, we need to change that. We need to move. We need to be active in this theatre as much as possible. I need to bring his attention down here as well. Which would ultimately see the demise of these forces, but we need to cause issues for him here. I don't think I could take Pago Pago, especially as we can't land the entire force at once, but it's still a fair force. If we were able to have the time, we'd be able to run them back and forth with reinforcements here. Those cruiser mine layers, let's take a look. That'd be nice, that'd be an interesting idea. Well, the thing is they lack range. They definitely lack range. So the thing is, what I may do here then, I mean these ships are actually quite nice. I mean that's a Yusen N. That's a Hishimi. Okay, what we're going to do here then. Form new task force. I'm going to tell them... Well, I'm going to have it as a fast transport. Okay. What I'm going to do here is replenish the task force at sea. Or not. Okay. Change that back. I need the fuel from here. Alright, put them both back in for the moment. What I'll do then is I'll separate them. Yeah, that's really handy. We'll definitely look at that in the future then. Right, if I actually take the transports out, could they actually dock at the island? That's the question. We'll try with one of them. Right, we can't dock. The port's way, way, way too small. 6,000 tons. We have 6,400. You could dock. Really aptly named, isn't she, the Kamikaze Maru? Love that name. We're out of operation. Yeah, we're out of operation points, okay. Right. Well, what I'm thinking here is, depending on what is happening in the area, depending on what information we have available to us, if we can't have any hope of taking Pago, it may be worthwhile to bombard it if there's aircraft operating. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But what I'm thinking of doing here is we take the fuel from the actual transports. We could use the transports, but I think these cruiser miles do have a much better chance at surviving. Of course, it does depend on the amount of fuel available there, as well as the troop capacity. But what I'm thinking is, if we have the ability to do so, I would very much love to raid Pago. If I can disrupt him here, that'd be amazing. Hello there, Olaf. How you doing, my friend? Well, we're having an interesting time at the moment. What I love here is that we have very limited forces in this area. And it's just trying to find a way to make the best use of them, which is what I love. Okay, these forces are going to have the other cruisers merge. But what we're going to do here then is we are going to tell this force then, follow Task Force 157. Yes. You're heading this way as well? Okay. Well, to be fair, Lupus, they were coming from Canton, and Survivor is obviously a rather dangerous target. You can browbeat me over fuel, but we won't be doing it too much longer. They might limp there. Okay. But I don't really expect them to leave the area. I think if they leave the area, they'll be doomed anyway. So if we can make use of them, I will do. If I can keep them alive, I will. Don't worry. Well, this is it. It very much depends on what's there. It would be a last resort to bombard the island, but it depends really on what information is revealed. We may see US forces headed towards Sevilla as we speak, and if they are, and there's no hope of survival here that survive for these ships, then I may seek to use them in some sort of purpose. If they can escape, I'll get them out. If I could have them see salvation in the future, I'll keep them here. We're not going out as of yet, but merely just making some preparations. That's all we need to do. Okay. You're quite hurt, but we'll turn down the speed. I'm going to patrol around Pago Pago. Yeah. I could patrol Pago Pago, but I'm not going to do it directly. I'm just worried about what else may be here. We do see 2 ships. These could be warships. We do definitely need fuel in the area. We will have it. It feels like we have very little due to the fact that Kiributai drank up a great deal here. Okay. What I'm going to do here then is actually transfer out some destroyers. Oh, 2 Task Force 1, okay. Well, we're not moving. We're just simply patrolling around Pago Pago. We're not sending the mine layers, don't worry. The mine layers are just staying here. See? They're staying put. We're just going to see what happens within a turn. I'm not going to send anything out other than the submarine until we have information around this area. If we have information suggesting that escape could be possible, then they will limp from Savai. They could even make it to Funafuti and from Funafuti elsewhere. Okay, let's ready invasion forces from ocean. Yeah, subs. Well, a sub. We do have a second one on its way with a actual float plane, but we'll have 1 sub just to, well, patrol Pago Pago. Right, we need to send a additional force now. So we're going to go with transport here. It's a shame that we don't have much really available for fast transport. So, the Rayunan Maru, 418 troops, she's carrying a lot of this supply, but that supply is extremely valuable. It doesn't particularly matter much about troop numbers. I'd imagine the islands are undefended. Of course, I'd like to have something with speed. But it's either a choice here of speed or bloody having troops. You're already in another task force. 14 knots is needed to reach Nauru Island. Naurua. Nauru? Whatever. You know what I mean. Right, 12 knots. That'll do for me. Konsan Maru. So of course we are dispersing the actual landing forces here. Yeah, indeed. We are dispersing our landing forces. But we do have the 144th Regiment, which will be moved to K1J for safety, and then could be used to actually invade Fiji. The thing is, well, it seems like we're on the back foot, but in reality our position is actually really quite strong. Pago Pago. Don't worry about it, man. It's one of these things, it's just simply I don't know how these names are pronounced, so I just go with whatever sounds right. Now send those to Betty's. Well, we could do, but I think I'm going to use the actual float planes from the cruisers. But I'll take a look at the G4s. I'd like to potentially have them used to reconnaissance Baker Island due to their range. That would be my preferred. Right, so Ocean Island. Now currently, yeah, we are moving as fast as we can here at 3 hexes per day, so that's fine. When you finish, retire, but you need to unload your troops. So you'll be here on the 25th of December, so on Christmas Day we'll take Ocean Island. Okay, I need the Aoba. Right, there we go. Follow. Interesting. Right, retirement allowed. Okay, so I doubt there'll be much here. But in case there are enemy forces, it is always a good idea to have some kind of escort. I would use patrol boats if I had them nearby. Well, we do technically have them nearby, but they're not here right now. So once they are close, we'll switch over. But we can't allow him to control these islands much longer. It's an intolerable situation. One really that we should have seen, but we've been sidetracked. Right, this airfield does need to be expanded ASAP. It's honestly far, far too small. We may switch to running here at Roinmer, considering we do have a base force, and yeah, we can definitely handle additional planes. We need to swap them around. Aviation support is not exactly great. We do have a decent amount of aviation support here. It's just we're lacking in terms of space. Okay. That's a good spot there. Home port, Tarawa. Right, there we go. Indeed, bamboo airfields. Right, I do have some jakes available here. What I'm going to do then is transfer them. We could move to Tarawa, so we'll do that. Okay, so that gives me 4 jakes over here. Obviously, they'll have range to recon, ocean, and Nauru. They don't have range for Baker, but it is very nice to have them here. They could then be moved to Funafuti in the future. So, I can't split them, unfortunately. Right, run reconnaissance over Ocean Island then. Considering that is the one that we'll be running towards first. Now, Aoba, you don't need to worry then. Right, you only have J. So you only have Pete's. We'll have them run day operations, actually. Your range isn't really sufficient for it, so we'll have you run naval search. We'll have the float planes here run reconnaissance over ocean. Now, we'll take the G4. I don't think you could actually land at Tarawa. Yeah, there's no airfield per se at Tarawa. Bacon Island's out of range here. Now, we could have the G4 run reconnaissance over Nauru, so we might as well. We'll run 50-50. Okay, reconnaissance over Nauru. How about a diversion? Send a force somewhere you can bomb out quick and get out of THG's attention. Well, the thing is, this definitely has his attention. Fiji is beyond important. If he loses Fiji, then that is pretty much a solid brick wall between US supplies reaching Australia, the East Indies, as well as India. He can't back down here. Okay. I'd like to make use of Kashima. These old transports actually do come in really handy. Right, naval search, yep, that's good. So them to 0 search and 0 rest. Oh, right, yeah, I'm on reconnaissance, aren't I? I was doing it as if it was a naval search. You saw me do reconnaissance earlier. You know I know what I'm doing. I just forgot that. Yeah, I was doing it as if it was a naval search still. My bad. Good spot. Send them both for reconnaissance, one for AM and one for PM. Yeah, this is it. He is forced to fight out here. And the beauty of that is, I don't see where else he would be forced to fight. Midway's fallen. Midway doesn't really matter. Fiji matters. It really matters. The amount of victory points here in these islands is incredible. So that's also a incentive here. But have you noticed the sheer amount of activity that we've found out here in the south? We've not seen activity like this anywhere else, obviously other than Singapore. But where else have we seen such activity? I mean, obviously there's activity around Pearl, but nothing like this of Allied ships basically over the open ocean. So this does absolutely threaten him, which is why he's moving assets to these areas. We'll see if we can actually get in here. I mean, I'd love to net myself a cruiser. That would be divine. Would be nice. Where are they heading? West. Interesting. Possibly to Sydney. So patrol just outside of Sydney as well. Actually, let's take a look at the ocean here. It's deep and here. Okay, so we need to avoid this, which I'd imagine is potentially... Though ocean deep, ocean shallow. I find it irritating sometimes when it has a land hex. I don't know whether it's actually deep or shallow. But we'll treat it as a risk. So I'll have them patrol here instead. Oh yeah, I can imagine. I'm not saying that there isn't activity, I'm just saying the activity that we can actually see. How strong do you think the forces at Fiji? Well, from what we can garner from our submarine reconnaissance over Suva, it's staying here at roughly 1700 troops. We can absolutely beat that. We could beat really any sizable force given time. Because at the end of the day, we absolutely have the advantage in the fact that we have Kitabutai. Honestly, without Kitabutai, this would be the most risky, ambitious operation. And it absolutely still is now, but at least with Kitabutai, it is the one advantage that we have that he can simply not match nor counter. He can attempt to engage us, but the thing is, if he, well, attempts to engage us, then, well... he's going to be on the receiving end of the full might of Kitabutai. And I've got to point out that they do have aircraft basically equivalent to a small country's air force. The Battle of Coral Sea, he's going to force something similar. Battle of Fiji might happen sooner. Well, this is it. Yeah, I know, Lupus. Don't worry, my man. Okay. So we have additional patrol boats down here. I am going to transfer some aircraft from KYJ to Roinama. I'd move the G3s, but I'm somewhat worried that it would actually alter. I know I could move them, and I just don't want to take the risk that it would actually turn off their ability to use torpedoes. Okay, so I'm going to have you train here. I'll have it on 90% train. I just want to make sure that they do recover some of that fatigue. Okay, I do have additional float planes that could be broken up as well, which is nice. Right, what I'm going to do here then is we're going to take these guys, break them up. So, they've been broken up into... Is that 2 units of 2? 19th, is this 19th? Yes, this is 19th. Fantastic. Right, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to transfer them around here. The reason for this is so we can actually spread out our intelligence gathering. If I could reach them here, I'd like to potentially do that. Though, it may be worthwhile to have them control of these bases here. I could do it here, but it would be nice to do it where we potentially have aviation support, so we can definitely do it here. Here could be done too. Right, transfer 1 unit here. So the 19th KUT A detachment. In fact, there's only 2 of them, so we'll have 50-50. Now I'm going to transfer you. I could go here. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right there, Lupus, which is why we're sending them to the islands where we do have some aviation. And I'd like to send them out here, but it's probably not for the best. Yeah, it is useless. But it is quite handy just to have some kind of perimeter defense. Well, no, it's not even a defense, sorry. Some perimeter... I suppose you could just call it some sort of early warning, or at least it's something that's going to be able to potentially pick up on submarines or something like that. Just something that might slip through the net, really. Where might his carriers be now? Well, see, that is the question that we've been pondering for a long time. We initially had, during the opening days of the campaign, we did have initially a sighting of a float aircraft. I think it was a dive bomber or torpedo bomber. I think it might have been a dive bomber or something like that. We had initial sighting around this area. We did search this area basically from here to here, but it seems that we probably went in the wrong direction or it slipped by. I imagine his carrier probably went to the north. So, from there, he may have actually headed back to the US, where he could have actually joined up with Saratoga. I think it's Saratoga here. So he would have had 2 carriers in this area. I'd imagine both of them would have joined up and left the area. So, my bets are the US fleet carriers are probably in US waters. They're either in the US or they're in Pearl. We did have a potential report of a carrier, though we never had the ability to actually verify it, as the ship or the task force that was spotted that triggered the report then vanished. So I'd imagine he may have them here or nearby. It's very hard to say because I don't truly believe he would have moved them there. So they might have actually neared Pearl Harbor, but then proceeded to head south perhaps. On almost to Australia perhaps. So, I don't know. It's really hard to say. He could have potentially had them head to Australia, but I don't think he would. I think, honestly, the strategy I think he would have gone for is really head into the US. He knows as the safest option. I do have submarines out this way, but yeah, this is by far the safest option for him. Is this game against a historical gamer? Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, I've been doing some Warner Pacific games that are for Matrix and Slithering games. We did have one the other day, just really to kill some time as a Coral Sea. What if he went south? A lot of players send their carriers to Oz after Pearl Harbor strike. Well, he could have gone to Oz. I mean, this is it. It's an absolute possibility. And it's one that does worry me. Which is why we're going to actually transfer some additional patrol boats. Well, flying boats anyway. I currently have 3 of them ready over here. So what I'm going to do is take the Toko KUT-1 and actually transfer these 3 planes to Trek. The reason for that is we actually don't have anything beyond these E1, 3A1 Jakes over here, and obviously they're not even ready. So transfer them to Trek. Now, we do have only 3 planes there. So it's not a huge amount of aircraft. But it does mean that we do now have at least some additional reconnaissance in this area. The biggest fear that I have at the moment is that, well, perhaps, I know this might sound a little bit conspiratorial, but I think we have to consider every option. Perhaps these heavy cruisers are bait. They could be bait. What if the threat is not at all from the east, but perhaps from the west? He may have forces in the Coral Sea or the Solomon Sea. He may have forces nearby and we wouldn't have a clue. Because we don't have a huge amount of naval search in this area. So we do have to entertain the possibility he may come from the Coral Sea to hit us here at the Marshall Islands, should he choose to be offensive. I think he's going to be offensive. I really do. Or they could be an escort force. I mean, this is it. They could be an escort force. I mean, that's another reality here that we may face. The good news is, if it is a escort force, it has betrayed their positioning. I mean, it is definitely moving west, which is very telling. Yeah, this is it. This is why we're going to take control of Ocean and Nauru Island within the next 2 to 3 days. If we can grab Baker, I would be very tempted to grab Baker. Yeah. Well, this is it. This is why ideally we'll have additional information over this area. But what I'm going to say is, if we can... Actually, let's take a look at the range here. What do we have on board? We have the E7K2s. That's still 6 range, I do believe. For Attacker has, yeah, the same. 6 hex range. Now, they're flying out here constantly. Which is actually going to be very handy. So you can imagine the task forces here. So they'll be able to detect... possibly something this far out. From obviously over here, they might be able to pick it up. So what we are going to do then is we are going to send our cruisers to link up at the transports that were originally intended for Baker Island. If we have the ability to do so, I'd like to still continue and take Baker Island due to the fact it does have an airfield, which is actually something incredibly valuable out here. But it would of course deny him an airfield to potentially use here. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does regarding Canton. He's still running reconnaissance. So what I wonder here, if he has the reconnaissance then over Canton, and he sees that there's no forces here, he may not actually seek to invade Canton. He may very well invade Canton. But if he does, well, that's no issue. We'll just annihilate that force in the future. It's not a big issue. Losing Canton would really only see us lose 2 planes over here and a little bit of supply and fuel. Nothing really too bad. It would reveal his handbone. Are you covering with search? We're trying to as much as we can. Yeah. If it's an invasion force, it's a big mistake. We can respond in one turn with force. Yeah, absolutely with force. For example, I mean, Kiributai could make good headway down here. The only thing that really worries me is because we could tackle this surface force. Yes, it's 4 heavy cruisers, but we have in the area 4 heavy cruisers, as well as 2 bloody battleships. These big old birds. Nagato and Mutsu. Yeah, and the crews are fairly experienced. The crew here of Nagato isn't too particularly experienced, but the crew of Mutsu is definitely a forerunner here. But these guns are very, very effective, and we have 8 400mm guns here. The 45 3YT guns. Well, the 40cm / 45 3YT. We have 8 of them. For the front, for the rear, and then we of course have some... Just look at these secondary batteries here. We have 18 14cm guns. I mean, these are cruiser caliber guns. They pack a wallop. The range is most important. You see here, 42,000 yard range, 671 penetration. If we take a look at this compared to that of the Aoba, for example. Now, Aoba mounts, yeah, guns half their size. Range is about 75% of the battleship range, but you take a look at the penetration, significantly different. A 410mm, very nice. How quick could the BBs intercept the heavy cruisers? It would take a couple days, but what we will do is wait until it's far too late for him. We'll allow him to close in, really to see what he's doing. We're not going to jump to any conclusions here. We're going to wait. I mean, you take a look here. Tarawa is obviously our base of operations in this immediate area. Palmyra is probably theirs. So this is very much like a midway. Send those A5 M4s on the carriers. If we need to react fast, I want them ready to fly next turn. Yeah, that could be a very good idea. A very, very good idea. Would obviously help to alleviate some of the issues here too. So we'll do that then. Can I spread these out? Unfortunately not. Actually, they're both here in the same area. You're on Roy Namur. Damn, did I already move you? No, you're not here. Okay, you're still... Right, fantastic. Can I combine them? Am I... Right, A5 M4s. Am I missing something? Right, there they are. Okay. Right, we may just have to actually combine them aboard a ship. So if we take a look over here then, can I further divide them? Right. So we have, what, 24 A5 M4s? And don't combine them. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to use a calculator because I'm lazy. So we have 19 spaces aboard Soru. 19 aboard Hiru. That's rather funny. Kage, yeah, as you can imagine, less. Yeah. Okay, so I think what we'll do then is probably have them assigned to either Soru or Hiru. It depends really on which carrier has lesser fighters. Right, 18 aboard Hiru. Right, they're gonna go to Soru. They're carrier capable, but they're not carrier trained. But we can make up for that. Right, Soru. Yeah, these are carrier capable planes. Where they transferred there, I didn't actually read the message. Okay, they're aboard. We are over capacity. It's not giving us the option for the ones in the port, unfortunately. Though actually, now that you mention it, I could have taken a look at them. Well, bit too late. Forgot about that. Because we couldn't have taken them. Akagi, yeah, Akagi probably taken them. Oh well. We can transfer them next turn anyway. Okay. Right, now you have the option here to transfer. That's good. So there, French dog, how you doing, my friend? Okay. So yeah, the other carriers could actually take them. I think what we need to do then is protect our most valuable carriers. Now, Akagi is the largest, so she definitely does need some additional forces here. And she's the one with the least, I think. So we'll have them board Akagi. The mini invasion should actually arrive next turn. Right, you can't transfer. You've probably just flown in here, haven't you? Okay. We actually have had some new zeros arrive at Kitabutai already. I think we had 5 new zeros, as well as some B5N2 Kates. Yeah, exactly. I was discussing this with Lupus last night. It's the first strike that is by far the most important. So this is actually really good news, just having these additional aircraft. So obviously we take a look at the numbers now. Of course this is only the 3 carriers. We can see that we are, well, with an additional 24 A5M4s, it does help to beef up our numbers. So we're up to 62 aircraft, 58 ready, but that is a rather large increase in numbers. They're not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, but they are here. So we will press them into the battle. Okay, so you're currently running long-range combat air patrol. Yeah, we transfer them onto the actual island. We can transfer them back onto the carriers. We did it last turn due to the worries about actual potential air activity in this area, but of course they then had to go into maintenance. So if we can, we'll try to transfer them back, but it's probably next turn that we'll be able to transfer them back. Obviously that was a mistake at the time. Right, so we'll have, I suppose, just run 50% combat air patrol. Have a rest. Well, rest. Okay. Now we'll have to transfer them back onto the ships next turn. Okay. You're currently running ASW here. That's fine. I will have 10% of them out on search as well, actually. Right, what we're going to do with our zeros is just have 50% combat air patrol, then have, obviously, the rest. So set all carrier exits from 2 zeros in this hex. You think 3070 would be fine, going back to what we had it at? I was thinking maybe about 50% combat air patrol. But I mean, we can go back there, I don't mind that one. I was thinking more so that at least 50% out there, then obviously the other 50% of resting, but I suppose rest would probably be for the better. Okay, we'll go for the option that we just had then. We would have been training, but what we need to do then is obviously take into account the fact that, yeah, the enemy is nearby, so we need to be in a state of readiness. So that means rest. Okay, let's take a look over the B5 and 2 Kates. Now, I am going to have 20% of the squadron out here. Yeah, that's it. So they're running 20% search here. What I might do then is, we could run 20% or we might run 2%. Sorry, 10%. I don't know, it's hard to say really. I think I'm going to run... I'd say only 10%, or even just none of them. We might even have the torpedo bombers train. Oh, we'll eventually have... well, we'll have our zeros rotated out soon to newer models. As soon as we can do, actually. 20 is enough. Okay. Right, fair enough. The zeros are good in the opening stage because of the agility bonus that is hard-coded, that spies, and then the F4F is on par. Yeah. The F4F is actually rather nice fighter. Has more killing power than a zero, really. Okay. Right, let's see what else we can transfer out from KYJ. We do have some additional float planes over here, but the thing is, where could we base them? We base some of our peats here. I could base them down at Talawa, but what are they really going to be detecting? So we'll just leave them here for the time being. Right. These coastal defense units could come in very handy, actually. So we have a fortress unit here as well. And we have one here. Right, okay, so we have... Okay, that's fantastic. So these 4 islands do actually have coastal fortresses on them. At least a coastal fortress force with actual coastal guns. So I believe that coastal guns, how they work is, I think if an enemy task force passes them or passes through them, then they should actually take fire. I think it's probably through them. Though, could be one or the other. But I believe they should take fire. Which would be handy. But it's nice that we do have these forces over here that are armed. I mean, it's not a huge amount of men there, but still, it's something, which is nice. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. Would ruin your day. Definitely. We are moving 2 AVs into this area within the next 2 to 3 days, so that's good news. I do have some additional forces coming in here, which is good. Not a huge amount of fuel there, but we will just cannibalize that. Those troop transports are quite viable. Okay. So we have moved some H6Ks over here to truck, which is good. Right, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to take a look at Japan and see what can send from Japan to the Marshall Islands. We have had a run of convoys arrive, but we do need additional ones. Especially as we will be keeping those convoy ships down there, really. At least for the foreseeable future. Right, I need Gifu to actually rack up the amount of supplies they have as well. Where the hell's Gifu? I thought Gifu was here, to be honest. But that's Abashi. Right, she's around here somewhere. Okay. You're loading fuel. 6,562 units of fuel. That's actually quite nice. Right. Troop transports over here as well as additional troop transports. I don't think there's actually much I could move, just engineers. Okay, what we're going to do then is... disband this task force. Okay. So, mission replenishment. Right. So if I have you run tanker, what we could do then is have the patrol boats actually assigned. So what I'm going to do then is take these 2 patrol boats with some decent range. What I want you to do then... do we have them cast off now? I'm going to actually keep them here for the time being, considering that 8,000 units of fuel is nice, but it would mean that they'd use them along the way. So we need bulk more than anything. We do have tankers over here. Some nice tankers as well with some pretty good fuel and capacity. We do have a lot of fuel here, but we do obviously need to bear in mind that fuel taken from Japan is fuel taken from the industry. So, let's take a look. I need speed more than anything. Now we do have an AMC over here, which is nice. That could actually act as a fairly good escort. Mostly for her phenomenal range. Are you buying K1 Tong army units for the... well... I'd love to use units in China elsewhere. But we are transferring our forces. I mean, we are transferring 2 divisions to the Philippines. As far as it goes for forces in China, we have all we need and more. It's just making sure we use it correctly. I'd like to take additional forces from Japan, but we need to see when they're available. Right, okay. I could take 2 tankers, which is a rather large assignment of fuel. And I don't do this lightly. This is a lot of fuel that is going to be pumped in here. We do have a lot here in Osaka, but this fuel might be the fuel that sees us actually continue production for a couple days. But what I'm going to do here is transfer it in via Kiyoshimi Maru. She will act as a... Right, the Sata actually has fuel already. Fantastic. Though she is very slow. So probably not the best idea. We'd have her readied elsewhere. We'll use the tankers. Okay. Yeah, that's true. But I actually can't transfer really anything else out of Manchuria. I'm really at the limit. Okay, so load up and head for KYJ. Loading fuel. So that's 29,650 units of fuel. Yeah, you take a look at that where so very close to the actual line at which we have to worry about Soviet invasion. So we will not take anything else from Manchukuo. This region here, nothing else can leave. Unless we absolutely are clear on it. Because the risk is far too great. I mean, if the Soviets were to become active, then yeah, it would be a bloodbath. Have our forces already arrived? Wow, they've made some really good time. So the 3rd Division. Right, fantastic. What we are going to do then is have them run bombardment. The reason for that is I need to really gauge their strength. Right, that is a training squadron. Though it lacks somebody with really good experience. Seems to be very overlooked, actually. Just increase the amount of training, then. I don't think I need them as of yet. Could THG try to sneak troops into Manchuria to knock some troops out and bring the Soviets in? I mean, it's a super interesting option. I suppose he could, but would be aware. Like, the closest he has troops is over here. He'd have to get, he'd have to do a lot of marching. A hell of a lot of march into Manchuria. And the thing is like, there's still 8,000 assault value in this area. So, alright. So, Valupus, how you doing? Well, the forces in Mersing, I don't think they'll survive much longer. I honestly think that next turn will be their last turn. But the thing is, they've tied up his resources for a couple days extra, which is actually really quite nice. It will mean that we see their loss, but there's not much that could be done about it. The 124th is just too damaged at this point. But that's still 19,000 men here. Probably closer to 20,000 men. So what I'm hoping for is they remain here at least another day. Yeah, we do not want to obviously activate the Soviets. Definitely not. Definitely not. But the forces of Mersing will just last until they can't. There's simply nothing else there. Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm just hoping that they buy us enough time to actually move it here. Oh, Lupus, no, Winnie man. I'm not on about actually using the forces from Manchuria to march into China. The question was, could he sneak forces in here to Manchuria to trigger the Soviets by removing some AV? I said, well, we've got 8,000 AV here. He'd struggle. Okay. So we are marching on Georgetown at the moment. Right, the actual headquarters needs to stay here. Okay. This engineer unit is moving. The rest of them can start to unpack, which will actually increase the amount of engineers we have, which is a very good thing. Obviously, we do need additional supplies here. That's for damn sure. Well, that's probably a little bit excessive. But this will definitely help us to build up the airfield here, which is really good. We do have currently 22 aviation support. Ideally, we build that up. Yeah, close to auto victory. Well, do I think it was a waste? Well, at the time, I mean, we did actually come close to winning the Battle of Mersing. We actually did come close until he actually brought in reinforcements. So that was actually a very close thing. Had it actually worked out a different way, we could have potentially even have won the Battle of Mersing. But this awful stalemate has actually created some options for us. He may have, well, he'll be able to destroy our forces here, without a doubt. But the thing is, I'd say it was worth it. I mean, it's a shame to have lost that that light cruiser. But I'd say it would be worth it if it ties his forces up long enough for us to actually march down here and actually catch him out of position. If that actually happens, then I would actually say that these forces dying here at Mersing was worth it. And obviously, had the Mersing Gambit succeeded, then yeah, we would have been in a much different situation. But it did not. And we've learnt our lessons from there. Which is why Fiji is such a complicated affair that cannot be rushed. There's so much in the way of logistics going on here, it's unrivaled. Massive operation. Midway was a sideshow. But I would like those troops. I would like to pick up those troops from Midway at some point in the future. But still, absolute sideshow. Okay. We are building up our fortifications over here. We don't have the engineers. We just have the troops, but they can do that. What's the likelihood that Prince of Wales or Repulse escaped from Singapore? I don't think they have. I mean, they might have. Possibly. It's just one of these things of, it won't make a terrible bit of difference. We'll just kill them in the future. But, I don't know. I think she'll still have quite a lot of damage, so he might have them limp out. But the thing is, if they head north, they're going to be caught by naval bombers. If they head south now, they'll be caught by naval bombers. Any fight sweep over Sings? No, not yet. We weren't expecting bombers, but I think what we are going to do then is start running sweep operations once again. Now, I do have some, a fairly decent-sized Zero Squadron, don't I? I think what we may do then here, for example, yeah, I have 27 from the 3rd KUS. We do have range to Singapore, but I would like to actually move them to another airbase to actually reduce that range. I mean, Kota Baru to Singers is 9 hexes, which is better than, what, 11 or 12, whatever we were seeing. Right. Yeah, we'll take a look at those. Yes, we did lose a lot. But will it stop the operations? No, of course not. It's one of these things that we have to live with, really. We lost a lot of men in the ocean here, but we'll make him pay. We can't let things like that bother us too long, really. If we forever focus on our losses here, then we won't move anywhere. We'll focus on the future. Right. The waifu power. Okay, we'll run combat patrol here. 70-30, I think. And that's a good amount of zeros here as well. But I would like these other two planes to be readied as well, so we could move the entire squadron at once. So we'll have them run... I'd say obviously additional... I mean, we've had a lot of kills here. The Yamada detachment has been really quite good. I'll have them run actual long-range combat patrol. I don't know if I do wonder about long-range combat patrol. I want to see how it works, actually. See, my waifu ship is going to be the one that has a flight deck on the back. Okay. I'd like to actually clear some space over here, so what we are going to do then is transfer these B5M1 Kates over to Patani. Right, there we go. But I'll have it further south, actually. That'll do for me. Right, we do have these bad boys run ASW. What we need is aircraft space here. He's moved his forces from Kuantan. Interesting. So the airfield over here is still quite heavily damaged, but it may still be operational. It would still be operational, but not for particularly much. So I think what we'd like to do here then is actually consider potentially a fast transport to Kuantan to actually seize that base there if it is in fact empty. The reason for that is it would actually allow us to have another airbase, another forward airbase. So it would obviously come under threat, but it would be fantastic for when we start bombing Singapore itself. As to reduce that operational distance. What is your estimate on the duration of the Singapore operation? I think we'll wrap it up next month. I think it's going to take about a month or so. And then we'll be able to wrap it up. Yeah. I don't think it'll take us too particularly long. I mean, it's been a challenging scenario, well, campaign so far in some ways, but it's not going to be that tough. We'll manage it. It's just really applying our forces correctly. Okay. Yeah, I imagine he would like to drag it out as long as possible. Right, what I'm going to do here is transfer these bad boys to Kota. It's not great on the aircraft room, but we need it. Now, we do have a fair amount of fatigue here for the 3rd KUS. We'll have 20% of the squadron rest then. It's actually some rather poor pilots here. I think we need to have them replaced ASAP. Because that is way too poor. How many days? 4. To take a couple days then for some of these bad boys to arrive. We just have to hope that the ones that don't fly are these ones. Yeah, we'll have them trained. Of course, you have to remember that Major, bless his soul, did do the pilot training for me, so a lot of these pilots, these actual pretty good fighter pilots are out here somewhere. We'll have more in the future. We did lose a lot of Zero pilots, which is a shame. Right. I'm going to have these forces run on ASW. How's that look? I hate when it selects it first. Really hate that. Right, there we go. Right, what I'm going to do is actually take this squadron, have them run random ASW, I think. Though. That works for me. Right, I'm going to take these aircraft and transfer them to Patani. Okay. What we're trying to do here is just bulk up the numbers that we have nearby. Right. What I'm going to do is actually have them set for training for the time being. Airfield attack principally. Okay, there we go. So we're running operations over here to the north, running operations here, running operations here. Right, tell them to stop. Hood was a big old ship though, wasn't she? Big old ship. How many engineers do we have here? 136, but no vehicles, which sucks. But we'll have the airfield increase in size next turn, as well as the fortifications, which is fantastic. I do need Congo out of here. At some point soon, anyway. Though we'll move her once we have relative control of the area. Hello there, Rick, and welcome. Doing pretty good. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have some weeb conversations going on here. Right, have they all arrived? Rebuild the 143rd then. Interesting. I've been so indecisive with this unit, but we are... I know it sounds daft. I'm going to have them march towards a base over here. We'll have them march this way. I need them to just threaten them. If anything, really. We need something going on here. Right, then. So we are going to be running sweep then over Johobru. I'm going to have the Oscars as well join that. If I can sweep them, I'd be happy. We'll run sweep over here at Johor then, and Singapore. 15,000 feet. Okay. Right, there we go. So they'll take some time to obviously recover. Shame about that. And so is this game like like Hearthstone 3? I I suppose in a way, but this is basically the Pacific War. One day at a time. 2 12-hour phases at a time. Yeah, we're playing the entire war here one day. It's just honestly so very complex. And please tell me we are hitting St. Paul soon, because I think you missed great opportunities for hitting Allied ships. The thing is, Carl, if we'd have hit the port here, we would have probably seen our bombers just ripped up by Allied firecraft. The ships there don't matter. They do matter, of course, but they don't matter right now. What matters is securing Singapore. Sinking some ships in the harbour isn't going to bring the fall of Singapore. Destroying their air capabilities would destroy Singapore. So we'll take it when we get the chance. And we'll take the ships when we get the chance. But we need to set up this operation right. What's the craziest super battleship you ever made in Ruleways? See, I did a collaboration with THG and Tortuga Power like some while ago. And I tried making an all guns forward battleship like the Nelson, but yeah, it didn't work out really too well in that game. Due to just how the way they move around. I want to get a Grigsby games, but they're way too expensive for me. Well, there's occasionally sales, which is always a good thing. I could always try and find out what the next sales are and try and like let people know in the Discord. But it's one of these things. You imagine this game is, yes, it's about 60 odd pounds now. But if you look at it as a, well, I don't know, let's do some quick maths then. So, quick maths. Right. So we'll assume that you play a turn each day from 41 to 46, so let's say 5 years. So obviously 5 times 365, so that's 1,825 days. So we'll do 60 divided by 1,825. So really you're paying like, like 3 pence per day. When you look at it that way, if you just play it each day, because this is how long this game will take. Okay, now we need to decide how we're going to use the carriers over here of Zuiho and Ryujo. We need them in the area. If we are chased off, then he's going to be more active, and I can't allow him to chase me off. Right, what's all going to do over here quickly? Yeah, 2.5 years. Incredible there, Michael. What was the results then, Michael? Okay, take these, we'll actually just escort the force in. Interesting. Wow, 2 to 4 days. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, get a Grigsby's one of these is pretty fun. Okay, remain on station. Yeah, no, it's incredible, isn't it? And welcome there, John. You won, allies. Had mine midway in 1943. Oof, how did that go then? Right, this AV is going to be very, very handy soon. I'm going to transfer inventory. Well, inventory. What do you guys think then? I'm really kind of tempted to actually have another force actually land down here at Brunei. Kind of tempted, but then again it probably wouldn't be worth it. We'll land here at Miriam, then we'll ensure our success. Well, the thing is, there's not much use for the Philippines. Sorry, for the A6M2s over the Philippines at the moment. He does have air forces, but he's not making much use of them. Because we wrestled superiority there. What we're going to do then is we are going to head back north. We're going to head towards Saigon. In fact, I'm going to head about here. Have you taken the Philippines yet? We're working on it. Right, the reason we're going to head towards Sok, well, between Sok, is I really want to try and link up... Well, I really want to head to where the ASW is running. Yeah, bad there. That's fantastic. Okay. Awesome. Right. I mean, as far as it goes for the Philippines, we are making some good progress. He does have about 61,000 or 62,000 forces over here at Bataan. And, what is that? 30,000 at Clark. The other bases, he's more or less just left bare bones. I'm half tempted to take the SNLF and actually have a march on Lingayen. What do we have here? No, nowhere near enough troops. Have them rest, actually. Hello there, Priki. How is land combat modelled in this game? Well, it's fairly interesting. It's more complex than it looks, I suppose. There's a lot of factors that are taken into account. Obviously, the quality of commanders, the terrain, the amount of supplies, the fatigue and disruption of troops, the quality of troops, the actual table equipment of troops, the planning that the troops have. So, for example, you can see here what's actually in this force. There's a lot of taken into account. Deliberate attacks, shock attacks, obviously, bombardment. There's a lot that can be done. I'm actually looking forward to taking Maban. I think what we might do then is, these forces are unpacking for the day, but that doesn't mean that they can't move. So we'll have the commando detachment actually march directly on Maban. We need to move now. So we have over here to the north of Apari, we have the 33rd Division that should actually be completely unloaded soon. They should be ready to go. So then we'll have the 33rd Division, which has been practicing actually while planning for the attack on Manila. So once they're ready to move, we'll be good to go. I'm actually going to tell them to start moving now, considering that their troops are still being unloaded. They'll still be here maybe another 2 days. But we're going to tell them to start marching now. The 33rd moves. We'll have over here then, accompanied by a huge amount of destroyers actually. A little bit OTT, but still worthwhile. Okay, so we'll have some engineers actually land over here, which is fantastic. So we'll have the 2nd engineers, I think they are. The 4th Division, as well as the 2nd Reconnaissance Regiment. Not a huge force, motorized and cavalry, but still it's nice to have something a little bit more mobile. Okay, so they'll be landing over here. Well, at this base here next turn. We do have the SNLF moving up. That's a good one. So yeah, the Battle for the Philippines is rather fun. I'm really enjoying this. We have a lot of forces here now. So for example, we have, let's just say 15,000 men to each division, give or take 14 to 15,000 men. Obviously half of that being the combat teeth of the division. The other half being the non-combatant support side. So we have 15,000-ish men here, another 15,000 men to land in the area, then obviously what we have on the Philippines. Sweeping over Malaysia. Yeah, we've set up 2 sweeps over at Singapore and Johor Bahru. So we've set our ships to move there, which is good. Now they're on max react, which is not a good idea. I need to turn their reaction off. Retirement allowed, yeah. Right, so in the event of anything going badly, I'm going to have your home base set to Cam Bay. Same for you. How heavy are the carriers? 10,000. They could maybe make it up to Saigon. Maybe. Let's see what we actually have in Saigon then. So we have 2 destroyers that are ready to go. Well, 1 destroyer that's ready to go, the Hakakazi. Which is actually a fairly nice destroyer. Yeah, that's nice to see. What do we have under repair then? Sazuya. Should be ready in the next week actually. That's good fun. The nice thing is, of course our heavy cruisers have taken some damage over here. The Megami class has been taking damage, but we haven't lost any of them. We do have Maya over here. We will have her head out when the time's right. What I might do then is actually take a force from over here, decide Gaunt to go and escort her. Right, we do have some cruiser mine layers. Okay. We do have a 6th tank regiment, which is going to help us reform the 2nd tank division. Yeah, but over here in Apari. Okay, they're going to make for San Fernando. Well, I actually need them to have a normal threat threshold. I don't want them to immediately retreat. So you can be 81st Naval Guard. So only about 1,000 troops, but the equipment is what we really want. Okay, Sendai does have some damage. Yomigi has some damage. What we're going to do then is take Sendai and Yomogi. Okay, don't need to run full speed. Run mission speed. We'll have you... Actually, you don't really have a huge amount of fuel. That fuel's sufficient. I actually think you've refueled, actually. Okay, you're following Task Force 197. That's good, then. Okay, so we'll land additional forces in the Philippines then as well. We'll reform the 2nd Tank Division, which is definitely what we want to do. That's right. Okay. So we do have a lot going on here, which is nice. Okay. How much supply do we have here? 144,000 tons. I'm going to load some supply here to take it towards Sama, at least some of it to Sama. Okay. Okay, our forces are marching north, so we have here 2 detachments of the 38th Division, as well as some accompanying artillery. We should be marching as well towards Kukong with the 104th Division. Yeah, they're beginning their march, because they have accompanying forces. We're making some big moves in China. Now, the main thing here in China... Right. Now, as actually pointed out earlier... I'd not actually taken a look at that, is the fact that he's actually pulled out from here, which is rather interesting. Very interesting. So he's pulled back his men here to Xinjiang, which is actually quite nice. That does give us a really good position here. Intriguing. So we have a 13th Division here. I'm going to tell them to plan for Xinjiang. That's where we'll be fighting here next. Okay. So we'll keep our position here then. We could move, but I can't move on him when he has 112,000 troops. We'll wait for our forces to arrive here, the 15th Division, the 110th and the 17th, as well as the 8th Independent Heavy Artillery. But that's great, we'll have the artillery to back them up, and we'll have 4 divisions to attack Xinjiang. Which is pretty much overkill, I suppose you could say. It will ensure Xinjiang is defeated. Which is what we want to see here. Right. So, question is, do we launch a deliberate or a shock attack here? Assault is 397, but I do want to save their strength. I don't want to just, like, unnecessarily throw it away. So we'll have a deliberate attack here. Then once they're ready, we'll have the 17th as well catch up. They've just started marching, some of these guys. Yeah, it's going to take them, I'd say... What's the terrain type here? Clear to clear. Probably take them about 2-3 days. Maybe 2 days, and then they'll be in the area. Depends really on their speed. But clear is fantastic, means they'll make some good progress. Okay, we've had some really nice things turn out here. Now we are going to go with a bombardment over here then to test the strength. These forces, we did actually win a victory, and they were forced to retreat over here to Chushan. What we're going to do then is we'll take the 39th and the 116th. They're both going to move on to Chushan. Yep, good amount of planning there. So 46 miles away. Right. So, we'll have them move in, obviously, the movement mode. Once we near, we'll go into combat. Right, can I reform this division now? Right, there we go, I can rebuild the 22nd Division. Have you planned for Changsha? We'll need these forces in the future. Oh, these are actual air landing. Ah, there we go, guys. So, you were talking about the actual SLF slash paratroopers, and here they are. The Yokosuka. Awesome. They're actually very interesting troops I'd like to make use of in the future somehow, then. That's really quite cool. Didn't realise I actually had them there. Sweet, nice find. Right, we'll continue our bombings over here. I want this base force. Okay, I want them to actually be moved to Hankow. The reason for that is so I could actually use them to build this area up. We are building fortifications. We do have a fantastic airfield, but we do need additional air base support. I mean, I do have something to do, but I would like more of the area. Let's see, can I load them now? We may have to spend some political points then to have them change hands. Yeah, we'll try that. So I have here the 11th Army. We'll have them transferred to the 11th Army. Right, we'll look at the actual command of the divisions, and then assign them to the same. Right, 11th Army, okay. Just the fact that within the same command hierarchy, having them change to a command within there is free. I think, anyway, I didn't see a point cost. Could be wrong. Still not seeing that option. Right, you're unloading. That's fine. I'll keep them here at King due to the fact it's halfway up the river. Which is nice. Gives me a little bit of maneuverability if we need it. Okay. I don't think there's too much else that we can do here. We are set to sweep at Cheng Chao. Ah, right. Yeah, quarter cost. That's fine, I can manage that. I think we did previously have 700 political points. Yeah, so there's a cost then, that's fine. Okay. Convoys are running quite nicely. Our forces are moving here. The ones that aren't moving are just coming off the actual transport and will be set to rest for the time being then. Those additional engineers will help us to actually build up the airfield, which is nice. Be able to then base planes here, which would be great news. Probably could potentially look at basing bombers here. Our carriers are going to go to the north. We're going to actually pull off a Miri land in here, which should land next turn. I'm going to tell them to move at full speed just in case. It's going to burn a little bit of extra fuel, but it does ensure they arrive here at Miri, which is what I want. Okay, so we have those submarines moving into the Java Sea, which is always good. Okay, what I'm going to do here is alternate this patrol power, because this is actually quite bad. We are running a little bit low on fuel here, so we are going to have refuel at some point. Yeah, you're heading to refuel. So you. Saigon. Well, to be honest, they do have fuel for this to continue, so we'll have them remain operational in the area. If anything, we need it now, due to the fact there is a presence here. We'll set your home port to Saigon, and then obviously they'll be able to move when they need to. Right, you're already on your way there, so might as well allow that one to happen. Okay. Right. So with that, I think we do have most things covered. We are seeing a lot of activity here, so what I'm going to actually do is pull these submarines to actually try and engage that. Now, interestingly enough, these guys are heading west. Supposedly. Which I find extremely interesting. Now she's actually set to cruise speed, so we'll change that to mission speed. That's a bloody midget submarine. Somehow still alive. Actually, it might be worthwhile for you to patrol here. Cover this actual gap between Pearl. Okay, there we go. So we're moving the submarines that we have available. These submarines are obviously moving down to follow these forces that were heading south. So we're trying to engage the enemy here as best we can. Not a lot of torpedoes left. Yeah, you only have 2 torpedoes. But you still have your deck gun. Right then, so let's review the situation. Well, in the South Pacific, things are definitely heating up. We have a lot of movement going on down there. A lot of movement. We have our submarine over here that's going to be patrolling just outside of Newcastle and Sydney. We have submarines returning to Fiji to help cover the area. We have one submarine moving up here towards the Samoa Islands. We have our submarine over here at Samoa headed towards Pago? Something like that. And we are readying our forces in Savai for potential escape or whatever options are really shown to us. We've moved around some float planes over here, so we have some additional ones now. We are running reconnaissance over Nauru Island and Ocean Island, where we have 2 landing forces heading out, guarded by a cruiser each. We have the cruisers and destroyers to the south actually recombining over here at 157. Well, we'll actually see if we have the ability to continue with the operation at Baker Island, depending on the movements of the enemy task force over here. Now, these guys are heading directly west. We have 2 planes over here at Canton Island that are far too damaged to be moved. So we'll see what happens. Should Canton Island fall, then we won't really lose too much. Well, we'll only lose 2 patrol planes. Which still hurts, don't get me wrong. In a game of numbers, that does hurt. Kidabutai is being rested to a degree. We have 3 of our carriers still out at port. We have fuel really being rushed over to the area. Now, we'll take a look at what else we can move. Right, replenishment. I do have some tankers here. I do have a large one. I'm going to send some additional tankers to start readying these additional tankers. I think I will need a huge amount of fuel. They won't necessarily head down that way, but I want them ready just in case. We also do have the seaplane carrier. Would be nice to make use of you. Okay, I want 2 fast tankers, and I'll have the Nagara. Possibly run escort there. I'm going to keep these 2 destroyers here. Right, load fuel. Then make ready for KYJ Island. I do need additional supplies. Though, it's difficult where to say they should come from. I'm going to go with Nagasaki, considering the abundance of supply we have here. Right. Now, 14, 14, 13. So we need something fairly slow. The Hishimis will do. Well, then again, the Hishimis are fairly worthwhile. Okay, Lemurs are nice, but I'm going to use... I mean, that's 12,000 tons of supply. I can get away with that. Load supplies as well. So it's either fuel or supplies. We'll load... Yeah, it'd be nice to see what happens. Right, what I'm going to do here actually is we'll have the actual replenishment run as a tanker, but I'm going to have it in a separate task force to make sure it actually does load up additional fuel. And then once they're ready, we'll have them all set off out. Yeah, I know, right? We've had a really good turnover in the last couple of days, which has been nice. It's been very, very interesting. Okay, then. So, we've got that sorted out. We do need to take a look at how we're going to get additional supporting forces, army forces, aircraft down here. I'm principally going to take forces from probably China to a degree. Mostly aircraft from China. And the Philippines when this operation's done. The good thing is, once we actually wrap up the operation over here, we'd only have to leave like maybe one division here, some accompanying forces, fortify Clark, and then yeah, that's it. I think Clark is their only way. Yeah, Clark is the bottleneck. So we'll just take Clark and keep these forces bottled in and just leave them to starve to death. No need to panic. Then we'll take over the rest of the Philippines. Which is good news. Okay. I just need the supply to increase. Gifu definitely needs more. These other settlements, well, these other cities do need more. Release Hiroshima and Tsu will begin to, yeah. We just need 20,000 tons of supply for basically everything. Okay. What are we going to see arrive in the next couple of days? Subchaser, another AMC, which is nice. The Akagi Maru. Submarine tender. Shoho will arrive within 34 days. So just over a month she'll arrive, so we'll have another light carrier. Yeah, this is really nice. The seaplane carrier. She'll arrive. Which will bring our numbers up to 3 seaplane carriers. Now, ideally, we want all of them to actually survive. So we can actually convert all of them into light carriers. Which is a essential thing that we need to do. We absolutely need them. Now, the amount of supply in Japan is going up. Obviously, it will go down due to the fact that we're going to draw off some additional supply now from Nagasaki. Though Nagasaki has the most, we're drawing fuel, but we do have some plentiful fuel supplies. Well, quote-unquote plentiful. Fuel is a valuable, valuable resource. So we need to be careful. We'll not send it out unnecessarily so, really. Right. What we're going to do here, then. We're going to have these these K-27s running long-range combat patrol over here. I think what we might do is run possibly sweep over here at Clark. Fairly good squadron, to be fair, in terms of pilot experience. They'd be prime movers for being the next K-43 squadron. Or the 1Cs. Obviously don't upgrade now. I'm going to attempt sweep over here. Possibly. Yeah, I know, right? We'll run sweep at Clark then. I do want to see if I can shoot down any of these actual planes there. Okay, running train in here. Yeah, this squadron's much poorer. So we'll leave them to continue training naturally. What I will do is actually sign a instructor here. Though I can't at the moment. Fair enough. That base is going to come in very handy, as I'll allow it to land troops down here in Leyte. Well, Samar and Leyte. Mindanao is going to be an interesting fight, because I know there are forces here. But the Philippines will net us some nice resources, but the thing is, it gives us a real nice springboard into the rest of the Dutch East Indies. Alright, this is it. We need to push here. Once we take Georgetown, we'll take Taiping, and from Taiping it's obviously marching down this way to Kuala Lumpur. But we might actually be able to springboard here to Kuantan, which I do find rather interesting. And I do actually wonder if we'd have forces available to do that. I do have the LSD, but that'd be far too valuable to risk. $18 knots, still handy. Right, let's refuel and rearm the ships on the list here. Okay, fast transport. Right, Kashi. And the escort and torpedo boats can actually carry a couple. Destroyer minesweeper could carry something. Then we could have some cargo carried in the patrol boats. Though actually that is a separate task force, we'll leave that out. Right. So it's nothing perfect. It's got a very low troop carrying capacity. Fairly lowish speed. But let's take a look at what would have the ability to do here. Right, I have 525. I could actually load up the Yokosuka 2nd SLF. Obviously, they're not in great numbers. But, I mean, 525 is not great, but it's not terribly bad either. I don't think we'd be able to... yeah. I'd not be able to manage that. But we could load up part of it. Even if I loaded up a Yokosuka 2nd SLF and had them made ready to actually land at Kuantan, if there's no forces there, we'd be able to take the base. And it does look like there's no forces here so far. Okay, I do have some reserve here. Send 2 of them out this way. Do I have 2 there in Johor Bahru? Okay, I do. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some reconnaissance run over Kuantan. So what we are going to do then is we are going to load up the 2nd Yokosuka SLF. Their numbers are pretty fucking low. But they could be handy. They could be used. Right, I'd like them loaded in combat mode, ideally. Low troops only. Though in fairness, it's not as if they'd be carrying a lot of supplies, so we'll allow them. Right. I think that works out best, because then I could have the light cruise and the escort carry the troops and the supply, well, the supplies. And then I could have the torpedo boats act as an escort, so that works out well for me. Okay, load them. What do you guys think then? I mean, obviously 18 knots is not a great amount, but it could potentially make us to Kuantan. He may not actually notice it as a landing force. But I think it would, if the base is open and free, I think it'd be a good idea to snag Kuantan. And if we use the 2nd Yokosuka SLF, then it does actually give them some honor after the horrific tragedies that they suffered at sea. They'd still have use in this war. But it would enable us to actually pick up a nice airfield where we could then potentially run engineers into, or even fly them in there, you know what I mean? It would be interesting. Ultimately, it would deny him another base, and it would allow us another avenue of approach over here. And it would be interesting for him. I think it's a good move. I think we'll do it. I mean, I'm tempted to say run it already, but we need information, and it's probably going to take them a day at least to be ready, maybe 2 days. Once they're ready, we'll go for it. Well, you say it's a bad idea, but it's not happened yet. We're going to get the reconnaissance over here in Kwantan. If there's nothing in Kwantan, we'll land there. It's too hard to pass up a free base. It would allow me to actually look at potentially sending engineers over here so I can actually ready the base at Kwantan. If I was to ready Kwantan. Now, you note here, this is on the road system and it's across the river. So, if he was to actually attempt to retake Kwantan, he'd have to march down through here in rough jungle terrains, I believe. He'd also have to cross the river, so if we had troops here, he'd be buggered. But it does give us another option. Yeah, they have like 0 infantry. So I don't know if they'd be able to actually take it, so that's a good point. Don't worry about that one. But we'll discuss it. I mean, I could start to load up some of the other naval guard, which I might do instead. I'm probably better off loading up a naval guard, aren't I? Yeah, we'll load naval guard. If I have no infantry, I don't know if we'd be able to take it, so that's a good thing. It'd be nice. It's romantic. Okay. Load up the 15th Naval Guard. You don't be able to fit all of them on, but that's fine. Right, load troops. We'll have them made ready. And then they'll land down here at Kwantan, assuming it's empty. If it's not empty, we won't do it. If it's a danger here, we won't do it. But I think it's an opportunity that could be taken. Okay. That's really bad roads. What do we have here at these bases? 1 air capacity, some resources, level 2 ports. That's actually quite good, a level 4 airfield and 2. Interesting. Very interesting, actually. Okay, I'd like you to actually transfer... No, actually, you're not really equipped for it. I'll tell you guys, you're not really very good at anything, so that's fine. I'll transfer you over here to Bangkok. What we're gonna do then is have you run reconnaissance. I want you to run reconnaissance over Tavoy. So what we'll do then, if Tavoy's empty, we'll actually have the first SLF, well, the first Yokosuka SLF actually transported down here to Indochina. We'll then use transport planes to actually fly them into Tavoy, and we'll take the port and airfield. Then at least that would give me an option here to then march south and secure Mugyu. But it would give me an option here to have something based and then run planes. Might be. We'll decide on that one. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking actually there, Klaus. That's pretty good. I think we were both on the same track there, weren't we? Okay. I need to find out if there's any Chinese forces around here, to be honest. What I'm going to have them do is actually run reconnaissance in this area. I've not given them a target, so I hope they run random. Okay, we're marching here. We are going for a deliberate attack here is what we want. Okay. Right, you are leaving. But your plane does have some range. What I'm actually going to tell you to do is run some reconnaissance over Nardi while you leave the area. If we can actually gather some information, then I'd be happy. Mission speed. Mission speed. Question is, do I stay here around the mare? I think it's worthwhile because at the end of the day, that is a major base from in the area now. Plus, it gives us some information at the very least. I don't think I actually have a search plane here. Having search planes aboard submarines is a fucking stroke of genius. But I think that's about all we can do here. So we have our supplies coming in, which is good. Kidabutai is half in, half out, which is fine. What we're going to do actually is form a ASW force. Fair enough. Right, we'll have these 3 destroyers then. I'll have them run basically patrolling this area. So they're home port here as well, so they're not going to leave. But there we go, at least we'll have some actual patrols then going on, which is good. Right. Let's hope for the best. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's hope for the best. We are building a airfield here. It's going to take a while though. We are going to be unloading some supply as well as fuel here. Right, you're going to load supply. You're going to unload. Okay, troops. Where's fuel? Right, yeah. You're going to load fuel here. That's good news. Right, fantastic. We have AVs coming in as well. So that's good. We'll actually be able to take a look at some additional forces then. Additional supplies on its way. I'm actually going to have them make for KYJ for the time being. Not going to run them full speed because it's some distance. We do have Eero over here actually. That's very good to know. Though what I have here as an escort, we only have 2 AMCs, so she'd be out there on her own actually. Which is obviously less than stellar. He's actually a fairly good pilot. Right, run 50% combat air patrol and let's say 10%, 20% training. Actually, I could go with 30-20. I just want to make sure that they're actually looking after the island to some degree. So we have literally nothing there. If he was to attack, we'd be really hard pressed. So I'm tempted to actually use some of the supply and actually create midget submarines, but we don't have a huge amount. So what I'll do, grab one of these actual transports. You, Nipo Maru. I'm going to have you actually head over here to Bab el Douab. And we'll unload an additional few thousand tons of supply there. Which is good. That means that if needed, we could create some midget submarines for some kind of defense, or even some PT boats for some kind of defense. Okay. Loading troops. And loading troops. Okay. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take these patrol boats over here, because they're doing jack shit of use here. I'm going to have them actually sent to Bab el Douab. Bab el Douab. Head down here. It'd be nice to have some ships there just to act as some kind of support. Even if it's useless. These base forces, I think what we're going to do is actually have them sent to this area when the day comes. But yes. I think that is all we can do here for the time being. I think we've done everything within our power that can be done. I do need some supplies here. Interesting. Right, we do have Sata and Kiyoshizumi, which is fantastic, actually. Right, okay. So we can actually have them head south now, which we will do. I think it's worthwhile to have some additional fuel coming down here. Mission speed. If we need it elsewhere, we'll move it elsewhere. But this is good, we'll have these ships readied. I may stop a day to actually unload some supplies at Chichijima. Or I could even fly some in by transports if we have them. But it's not a essential thing, really. Right, I mean, really, I don't want you to have any additional replacements. I'd rather them actually go to the front line unit. Same for these H6Ks over here, actually. Tell them no replacements. And there we go. Right, okay. I think we're about done there. I think there's not really anything else I can potentially do to really finish a turn any differently to this. So I think we're pretty good to go. It's going to be an interesting turn next turn, really. Very interesting turn. I think a lot of it does depend on how he moves his ships, how he moves those cruisers, and what else we see. We are setting ourselves up to see additional information in this area. We are aware of some activity around Ceylon. How many troops are at Fiji? At Fiji, we are currently seeing about 1,700 troops. Obviously, you can imagine half that number is actual combat troops. We are going to try and run some information over here at Nadi, try and gather some information, I should say. But nothing that we can't beat. We do have the 144th, which I almost forgot to dispatch, actually. Almost forgot that. They're going to head to... yeah, well, they're already on the Bloody Way, actually. Mission speed, yeah. Okay, leave behind the actual patrol modes. If they can't make it, they're not worth it. Plus, it would deprive Truck of some additional defense. We do need additional warships in this area. That's absolutely without doubt. We need additional aircraft as well. It may be worthwhile to actually consider taking a G3 or G4 squadron from potentially Formosa. And for example, I do have these G3 M2 nows. It might be worthwhile to have them sent out into the Pacific. I think we definitely have to consider that in the coming turns. But yes, I think we'll go with that. I think that's the last move I had to make there, so I'm glad I did remember to do that. Hello there, Satanicus. Awesome name, dude. Really reminds me of something from D&D. But yes, thank you so very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I do hope you have enjoyed this. And if you have enjoyed this, please do consider supporting myself on the channel. You can do this via Patreon or other means, which are in the description. It definitely does help me out. And, yeah, it would allow me to obviously do this more often. So, this is my passion, and I hope it's your passion too. Until next time, guys. Tenno, Haika, Banzai. Goodbye for now.